Hi everybody, welcome to our Spotlight Q&A for, I think this is our 7th one. This week we're being joined by Gillian Coy, who's the Instructional Leader for our Learning Center. So she's going to answer some questions about learning support for students with exceptionalities, learning exceptionalities, and for all of us. Gillian, welcome.
Well, thanks, Ian. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have a chat and share some information.
Great. Well, let's get down to it. We've got a number of questions that families have been asking about. Our first question is, the family that maybe has a student has learning exceptionalities, how best can we support them in this distance learning online environment?
That's a great question, Ian, and one that I've been getting a lot from parents, so thanks for asking that. One thing I've learned through my experience and certainly in my education is that things that are good for students with learning exceptionalities are good for all students. So what students are feeling challenged with right now, I think, is executive functioning skills. So that's initiating a task, planning a task, and carrying it right through till the end. And then the other piece, of course, is around organization. What's worked well for lots of students that use the Learning Center is to have an online agenda that we can check in with them every day to see how that's going. Great to add your most recent items from the top, and then keep pushing the items down. Don't delete them, just highlight them when they're done. That can be something that's very helpful. Of course, maintaining a daily structure that's in line with their regular Brentwood schedule is really helpful, as well as setting up a study space. When students come into the Learning Center when they're with us, they sit down at a desk, they get out what they need to do, they have their materials present, and that gets them in the same mindset of starting work. So as much as possible, if you can replicate that kind of environment at home, there is that muscle memory that triggers your brain to say, okay, I'm working now. And setting a daily schedule has been really helpful as well, so that students know, okay, this is what I'm doing at this time. I get up at an hour before class, I have something to eat, making sure that they're not just rolling out of bed and starting classes without having to have any food on board is really important, and it takes the brain a while to wake up in the morning. So if parents can set that daily schedule and help their kids to stay attuned to it, I think that's some ways that can really help. I just wanted to mention the ADD Attitude website, which I'm hoping you'll put a link in for our parents. There's tons of webinars and seminars about how to help your kids function during this online learning environment.
Great, thanks for those resources. I'll make sure that I put those up on the COVID-19 page under resources for our parents. Next question is, what are some of the important things that parents need to know to keep our kids on track? I need to know that as a parent too. So what can we be doing to support them and keep them on track?
That's another great question, because all of us are worried about our students staying on track during this new online learning environment. I think the best answer to that question is to really call on your child's support network. One of the reasons I work at Brentwood is because our teachers are amazing at accommodating students' needs and going above and beyond to reach out for help. On the Be Online website, where the Zoom rooms are listed, there are office hours for every single teacher. Students can also reach out via email if they're in a different time zone. And I've heard many stories lately of teachers staying up late or arranging a time so they can check in with their students. So use that support network. Use the teachers in the Learning Center. One of the things that we do every day is a daily check-in. How are you doing? The other thing I guess I've been saying a lot lately to the students is, here's my permission to do the best that you can. We want to be sure that we're being realistic about what's actually achievable during this time. And I would extend that same permission to you, parents, because I know we're asking a lot from you in this time. We're asking you to manage your children's education from home, and that's very difficult. So we understand that there's a lot of different situations, and I think just doing the best you can every day and trying to get through as much as possible, that's the best attitude at this time. The other thing is to encourage and motivate your child. When they accomplish something, we should act like they won the lottery because it's very difficult to stay motivated during this time. So lots of praise and lots of letting them know that you're really proud of their accomplishments, I think in this time is especially important.
That makes sense. It is absolutely difficult, and certainly those little wins should be celebrated. Next thing is, how do we, I guess more than anything else, how can we set our students up for success in the fall? How can we support them as we start looking ahead to next September?
Well, that's a huge focus, I think, is making sure that they're ready for the fall. So, you know, our teachers are aware that they need to focus right now on the essential concepts. And so what is being given right now are things that students need in order to be successful for next year. Of course, these are unusual times, and when we start up again, we'll be sensitive to the fact that maybe not everything was there and we may need to go back and do some reteaching at that point. But there's certainly some great supports out there. If you are at home and you're worried about math and science, for example, there's Khan Academy. And on Khan Academy, there is every level of high school science and math. So those videos can be helpful to reinforce the concepts that the teachers are also working on in their classes. And just, again, I don't think I can return enough to just doing the best you can. There's another website I hope you'll attach, which is called Cult of Pedagogy. And this woman has many videos and suggestions of how to cope with this pandemic teaching, as she's calling it these days. And more importantly, I think it's really important during this time to put those skills in place about wellness. On our Learning Center Google Classroom, we have 2 documents that you may be interested in. One is called the Wellness Toolkit, and there are meditation and mindfulness strategies. We usually start every block with something like that to center us and bring us back into the present so that we can focus enough to get our work done. And there's also a list there of self-care strategies, and we're asking our students to think about trying to do some self-care every day. One of the things that I've learned in my experience is no one is learning when they are anxious or in fight or flight response. So you access those resources. I hope this has been helpful for you.
That's great. Lots of sage advice and some great resources. As Gillian mentioned, you should be able to find them on the Learning Center site, as well as, again, I'll put them up on the COVID-19. Gillian, this is great. Thanks very much for doing this.
Well, thank you, Ian. Thanks for this opportunity to answer some questions that I hope our parents are thinking about. I hope this has been helpful, but I certainly will offer my contact information. Certainly, feel free to reach out to me. Many of you have, and I'm always happy to help our students cope during this unusual online learning situation.
Thanks again, Gillian. Really appreciate your time. Everybody have a great long weekend, and if you have any questions, send them to me, and we'll get the appropriate people sitting down and joining us. Otherwise, enjoy your family time this weekend, and we'll see you next week.